Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's me, True Brilliance, here with the Saturn Through the Houses series, back as promised. So you guys have been asking me for the 411 on Saturn, and I am here to give you guys all of the tea spill on this very mysterious, hard-working, back-breaking planet, okay? So when you first get into astrology, one of the main planets that you learn about is the planet Saturn. And Saturn actually incites a lot of fear in a lot of people, especially when you are just new to astrology. Everybody has a lot of fear around the planet Saturn, right? Because Saturn is known to represent limitations, hardships, blockages, and all of those things that we kind of don't want to deal with. But I have a very intimate relationship with the planet Saturn. I'm a moon in Capricorn, for those of you that do not know. So I have a very intimate relationship with this planet. And over the years, I've come to really work with this planet and actually start to really understand how this planet works. So Saturn is a planet about maturity. And to be all the way honest, the people that have the most problems with Saturn are people that have not fully matured in life, or you haven't exactly set up your structure in life. And that's exactly what Saturn is trying to get us to do. Saturn is trying to get us to structure our lives and get our shit together. So as most of you guys may know, there's something called a Saturn Return, where Saturn returns to its original place that it was when you were born. It's a 28-year cycle. So around age 28, Saturn returns to the original place that it was in your birth chart, and you have your Saturn return. This is a time of grave responsibility. Sometimes the structure of our life starts crumbling down so that we can build a new structure in our lives. So it could be a time of crisis in our life, but it can also be a time of great rewards. Most importantly, it is a time of great maturity for us and tests and trials and tribulations, which is basically what Saturn is about. But what I want to talk to you guys about today is the fact that Saturn is not all bad. It's not all doom and gloom. Saturn is actually helping us. It's just the way that it trains us and the way that it gives us wisdom can sometimes be a little bit harsh, okay? So when looking at your Saturn placement, make sure you look and find what house Saturn is in. So I do believe that the sign that Saturn is placed in is very important, but the house that Saturn is placed in is going to show the area of life that you are going to experience these limitations or perceived limitations in your life, okay? And it's very important to know where your Saturn placement is, because this is the area of life that you may struggle a lot. And some people can feel like they're cursed in this area of life. It's usually an area of life that you feel very insecure about, or you don't feel as confident in this area of life, usually because you've had a lot of setbacks or you've had a lot of things not turn out in your favor in the house that Saturn is in. So the house that Saturn is in can kind of make us feel a little bit insecure about ourselves. And that's why it's so important for you to learn about your Saturn placement and learn, most importantly, what it is that you can do to fix this, okay? And to combat these feelings of insecurity and inadequacy that Saturn can cause. So a few key things to know about your Saturn placement. Saturn rules time, okay? It rules time. So it takes time for Saturn's energy to come into its full fruition. So whatever house that your Saturn is placed in, that is a house that you can be a late bloomer in life, okay? So if you have like Saturn in the 7th house, you may not find a harmonious relationship until you get older in age. If you have Saturn in the 2nd house of finances, you may not get the money that you want or that you feel like you deserve, or your earning power may not really kick in until later in life, okay? If you have Saturn in the 5th house, the house of fun and entertainment, you may not really start to enjoy yourself and kick back and relax and let your inner child out until you get older in age, okay? So from my experience, Saturn doesn't really come into its full maturation until about 40, okay? So wherever I see Saturn in somebody's chart, I usually tell them you can expect for things to start working properly or you to be in your full stride when you get in about your 40s. Now, people don't want to hear this. People do not want to hear this, but I'm always honest with people because a lot of people wonder why things haven't happened for them, the area in the house that Saturn is in, it's because Saturn is there, and Saturn is slow time. It's gradual, it's step by step, it's painstaking. Okay, take it from a Capricorn moon, it's painstaking. So it takes a while for you to learn the lessons and gain the wisdom that Saturn is trying to teach you in that area of life. And usually it's accompanied by a lot of trials and tribulations. Yes, so trying things, them not working out, you having to fall on your ass, and you having to redo it, start all over again, start from scratch, okay? So the house that Saturn is placed in, that may be an area of life that you may feel that you fail a lot, or you just cannot get it right for some reason. It's really like a thorn in your side. But what you are doing is you are gaining mastery in that area of life. You are learning to become the master of that house. So start looking at it in that respect, because once you do achieve success, which is what Saturn's all about, once you do achieve success in the house that Saturn is in, you will be the master of it. You will sit at the top of the mountain. You will be the person that knows everything from A to Z about that house. And then you can actually take your knowledge and teach other people about that house. That's how good that you're going to be at that house. So please do not look at Saturn in a negative light. Don't look at it like you're doomed for the rest of your life. Don't look at it as you're doomed for the rest of your life, because you're not. You are just learning to become the master of that energy, okay? So just look at it in that way. There's always a positive way to look at situations. I try to be optimistic. Sun in the 9th house. I always try to look at the positive instead of the negative of a situation, and that's how I see it. And then also just look at it as you have something to look forward to in life. Your success is yet to come. Few key things about your Saturn placement. It is an area of life that you need to gain maturity, okay? A lot of the decisions that you make in that area or in that house may not be the most mature. It's an area of life that you need to gain maturity in, and that you need to gain wisdom, because you may not know enough about that area of life and you need to gain more understanding about it. You're going to experience blockages in the house that Saturn is placed in, and you're not going to know why. It's going to be an area of life that you're going to continue to try to succeed, but you keep on getting knocked down, and it can be very frustrating in that area of life. But it's usually something that you want really, really, really bad. You're also going to have to do hard work in that area of life. So things are not going to come easy to you in that area of life that Saturn is placed in. You're going to have to work for it, and you're going to have to work hard for it. You may also have to make some sacrifices in the area of life that Saturn is placed in, okay? And when I'm saying area of life, I'm speaking of the house placements, because the house placements represent different areas of life. So just to go over it, the first house represents your individual identity and the self. Second house rules your finances, your possessions, and the things that you own. Third house rules communication in your immediate environment. Fourth house rules the home and the family and your childhood and your deepest emotions, your emotional foundation. Fifth house rules entertainment, fun, hobbies, what you do to enjoy yourself. Sixth house rules your daily routine and your health, how you take care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally. Seventh house is your one-to-one relationships and partnerships in marriage. Eighth house is joint finances, soul bonding, deep intimacy, death, rebirth, and transformation. Ninth house is higher learning, higher education, and higher spirituality. 10th house is your overall career and public standing, your public image. 11th house is your groups and organizations, your tribe. And 12th house is the house of your unconscious and your dreams and your ideals and spirituality. So that's an overview of all the houses, okay? So we are going to go ahead and get into the Saturn placement. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Saturn being in the 9th house. The 9th house rules our belief systems, and our belief systems are very, very important for what it is that we're trying to manifest in life, and our connection with the universe, and being able to have a positive outlook on life and just believing that things will happen for us in a positive manner. So when you have Saturn in the 9th house, you have restrictions and limitations around what you believe is actually possible for your life. And the 9th house rules the bigger picture. So it rules, you know, our overall philosophy about how life works and things of that nature. So when you have Saturn there, you have a lot of blockages when it comes to your belief systems. A lot of the times it stems from your parents. So a lot of people that have Saturn in the 9th house, your parents' belief system really impended upon your belief system. So it's like your parents' thoughts, whether they were negative, or how your parents looked at life, whether it was negative or pessimistic, or even if it was positive, it really, really affected your belief system and how you look at life. So whatever your parents' thoughts or beliefs were about life, it was something that you took on, okay? So another thing with Saturn in the 9th house is that your parents could have put or forced a lot of their beliefs onto you guys. Now, these could have been spiritual beliefs. This could have been religious beliefs. So you could have had religious belief systems forced on you that weren't really your own. And so as you get older, you may have to deprogram yourself from those belief systems that you learned from your parents or from your surroundings growing up. And you may have to mature into establishing your own belief system that works for you, that isn't somebody else's belief system. So you really have to set up very strong boundaries around what it is that you believe to be true, and not let anybody steal that from you or impinge on your joy, right? Because 9th house has a lot to deal with our positivity in life, because it has to deal with our outlook and our mindset, our higher mindset. So sometimes people that have Saturn in the 9th house, and sometimes this can cross over into people that have Saturn in Sagittarius as well, they don't feel like a lot of things are possible for them. So you may even develop kind of like a pessimistic outlook on life. You may look over at other people's lives, what they have manifest, what it is that they're able to achieve, and you just may think those things just are not possible for you. So you don't even attempt to believe that it can happen for you. You don't even attempt to try to go after it, because you just may automatically think it's not possible. 9th house is about expansion, the expansion of our lives. So another thing that people that have Saturn in the 9th house can experience is you can experience that your life expands at a very slow rate, or it may just seem that way for you. So again, you may be looking at your peers, you may be looking at your friends, and you may see that their lives expand very easily, especially, you know, if you have Sagittarian friends. You may see that their life expands very easily. You know, they always get opportunities. Things just kind of fall into their lap. They kind of are able to tap into good luck very easily. And you just may look at your life and feel like your life is proceeding very slow, or it's just very hard for you to get to that next level in life and for you to expand your life very quickly and very rapidly, because Jupiter in the 9th house is about fast expansion. So I always relate Jupiter's energy to those lucky hits that people just get, where their life just freaking blows up overnight. I always attribute this energy to Cardi B and her career. Like, her life is the perfect example of a Jupiterian expansion. How her life just literally went from rags to riches over a couple of months. Like, honestly, it was like 3 or 4 months. Her life went from down here all the way up there. It was like her life went to a huge expansion, and it just skipped over all these other levels. That's kind of like Jupiterian expansion. So that type of expansion you may feel is very hard for you to achieve in life, and that your life kind of progresses in a slower pace than other people. But again, it could be something that's all in your mind, because that may not be true in reality. That just may be how you're looking at your life, or how you perceive your life. And again, it has to deal with your belief systems, what it is that you believe is possible. Also, 9th house rules anything that's foreign to us, or anything that's outside of our comfort zone. So when you have Saturn in the 9th house, you can have certain prejudices against things that are not familiar to you, things that you haven't experienced before. You just may not want to experience them just because that's weird. Like, that's way too out there. That's way outside my comfort zone. So anything that's outside your comfort zone, you may not be open to experiencing, and that can limit you in a lot of ways, because 9th house is about experience. And experience is how you gain wisdom. So it's like you kind of do have to explore things that are outside of your comfort zone in order to gain wisdom. Like, and I know a lot about this because I have Sun conjunct Mars in the 9th house. So I do somewhat consider myself to be a 9th house person. And yeah, it's just all about getting that experience. And it's like, no, you don't know if it's going to work out. You don't know if it's going to go as planned, but that's why the 9th house has a very risk-taking energy to it, because it's like you kind of just have to go and experience it for yourself. So you may have a lot of fears around going out into the world and experiencing things. Also, long distance travel may be something that's restricted for you at times. Like, you know, going out, seeing other countries, seeing other cultures, that may be something that you just never get a chance to do. Sometimes you may even feel confined into your little box or your little circle of where you live, and you may yearn or wish to go out and explore the world, but the opportunities just don't present themselves. And even if you do go out and you explore, you know, other cities and other countries, there could be just a feeling of restriction in those places when you're overseas or something like that. You could just have a feeling of restriction or a feeling of pessimism when you're visiting places like that. But also the 9th house rules teaching as well. So believe it or not, a lot of people that have Saturn in the 9th house actually become teachers themselves, because they do have a very strong concentration when it comes to learning subjects and studying and things like that. But you guys can also be the type of people that want to know everything A to Z about a topic before you go into it. So you're the type of person that like may study very hard upon things that you want to know. You may work very hard, you know, on your studies and things like that. If you're in school, people that have Saturn in the 9th house, if you go to university may be something that's very challenging for you or very hard for you, because 9th house rules higher education. Main thing that you have to watch out for with Saturn in the 9th house is not to become too closed-minded, like, you know, and not to become too pessimistic when it comes to the possibilities and the opportunities in life. And also, you guys really need to learn to take opportunities that come to you instead of prejudging them or just automatically thinking that, you know, it's gonna go wrong or it's not gonna be something that you're gonna like. Be open to experience is basically what I'm trying to tell you. It's like, be open to life and believe. Like, you guys really have to work on your faith in life as well, because you guys can have very limited faith in the universe, because the 9th house represents the universe, and the 9th house kind of represents God energy as well, like our relationship to God. A lot of people go through, you know, when you have Saturn in the 9th house or Saturn in Sagittarius, a lot of these people go through phases in their life where they become atheists, like they stop believing in God altogether. You know, they could just, you know what I mean? They can have a very pessimistic attitude around things like spirituality and things like that. There may be a time in your life where you guys just don't believe it. You guys just think it's a bunch of BS because you don't have any proof that these things exist, or there's been things in the past that has just let you down about the universe, and so you no longer have faith in the universe. So the main thing to watch out for with Saturn in the 9th house is not developing a pessimistic attitude toward life. Okay, you really don't want to do that, because one of the biggest parts of manifesting is faith and belief. Like, those are the two things that are very key in manifesting the life that you desire, and those things are both ruled by 9th house. So people that have Saturn in the 9th house, a way to remedy this energy if you are struggling with this energy is read up on Sagittarius, read up on Jupiter, you know, really try to tap into that frequency and really try to understand the principles of this energy, and try your hardest to open yourself up, right? Because 9th house represents being open-minded. So open yourself up to the unfamiliar. The sign that your Saturn is in the 9th house is really going to play a huge role in how this energy manifests, because this energy can manifest a lot differently depending upon what sign that it's in. So whatever sign that it's in, just take that energy as like, take that energy as like what you need to do within the 9th house. So for instance, if you have Saturn and Scorpio in the 9th house, you need to transform your belief systems into something more positive. If you have Saturn and Aquarius in the 9th house, you need to detach from belief systems. Like you need to detach from certain opinions that you may have about your belief systems, and you need to have a sense of detachment within your belief systems. If you have Saturn and Taurus in the 9th house, you need to find out what you value, like what your values are around your belief system. If you have Saturn and Aries in the 9th house, you need to take initiative when it comes to your belief systems. You need to take action on your beliefs. You need to take action on your faith. If you have Saturn and Cancer in the 9th house, it's like, what are your emotions? How do your emotions affect your belief system? Are they impacting your belief system in a negative way? Okay, so these are questions that you would need to ask yourself. Yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say about Saturn in the 9th house. If you have the placement down below, please share with the rest of the people on here that share the same placement. Maybe you guys can have a powwow in the comments and talk about your experiences. Anyways, thank you guys so much, and I'll talk to you later.